Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from SunnyHostin. Sounds like a town. We're in SunnyHostin.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, you know, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
SunnyHostin recently made headlines, and not for the reasons you'd expect. Known for her outspoken views on racial justice, reparations, and systemic oppression, she's built her career on a moral high ground. But her appearance on PBS's Finding Your Roots flipped that image upside down in a shocking twist. Sunny discovered her ancestors weren't victims of oppression, they were slave owners. Yes, a champion of reparations found out her own family directly benefited from the very system she condemns. Her reaction? Stammering disbelief and an awkward attempt to downplay it as just a fact of life. GregGutfeld saw this as the ultimate irony. With his sharp wit, he called out what he saw as hypocrisy. His commentary struck a chord with audiences, sparking debates everywhere. Should Sunny's revelations change how we see her activism? And does personal history matter when preaching accountability? Let's dig into this explosive moment. SunnyHostin is a prominent co-host on TheView, recognized for her unwavering stance on racial justice and identity politics.
It was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe.
She often presents herself as a moral authority, passionately addressing topics like reparations and systemic oppression. Sunny doesn't shy away from criticizing white privilege and regularly calls for accountability when it comes to America's historical injustices. Her advocacy focuses on amplifying conversations about equity and confronting uncomfortable truths about race and privilege. Over the years, she's become a leading voice in pushing for reparations and highlighting systemic racism, carving out a reputation as a fierce and unapologetic social commentator. SunnyHostin's appearance on PBS's Finding Your Roots took a turn no one, including Sunny herself, could have anticipated. Fans tuned in expecting the usual, a story of oppressed ancestors that would align perfectly with her outspoken advocacy for racial justice. But what unfolded was something entirely different, a shocking revelation that Sunny's ancestors were not the oppressed, but in—
How are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Stunned and visibly uncomfortable, Sunny struggled to process the information. She hesitated before admitting, "I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican. I didn't think my family were slaveholders." The awkward silence that followed was as thick as the irony. The moment immediately blew up on social media. Memes mocking her were everywhere, like one captioned, "Reparations? Let me write that check to myself real quick." While some fans defended her, others couldn't ignore the glaring contradiction between her personal history and her public platform. It reignited debates about accountability and the role of personal history in activism. Sunny, often quick to criticize others, now found herself in the uncomfortable position of being scrutinized for her own family's past. GregGutfeld wasted no time delivering a scathing and humorous critique of SunnyHostin's revelation. His sharpest line, Sunny's ancestors were slave owners.
So awkward on, new episodes of TheView when she tries to pull the race card.
Yes.
And then she's like, America is racist. And then they're like, yeah, they might be racist, but they're not like slave owner racist. like somebody that we
That's so true.
Yeah.
One thing, and I would have even actually not give her any is she said, well, I guess that's just what they did back then.
Yeah.
She should have followed that up with saying something along the lines of, and I understand that that's a departure from the way I've talked about this before.
The punchline hit hard, and the audience erupted. But his commentary didn't stop at jokes. Gutfeld took the opportunity to expose what he saw as glaring hypocrisy. Sunny has spent years condemning others for their ancestry, often framing her arguments in the context of systemic oppression and historical accountability. Yet, when faced with her own family's dark past, she casually brushed it off, calling it just a fact of life. Gutfeld didn't hold back in pointing out the double standard, saying moments like these show how identity politics can backfire when the narrative doesn't align with the reality. He argued that Sunny's moral high ground was shaken. Gutfeld emphasized that self-awareness and nuance are critical when tackling complex.
It is funny. She is so wrapped up in identity, and she had no idea who she was.
Well, now we understand why she always makes Whoopi get the coffee.
Exactly, because if she is shaming descendants of this, will she continue to do that when she is now one of them?
By oversimplifying problems into identity-based frameworks, he explained, activists like Sunny risk ignoring context, and in this case, their own contradictions. The irony, as Gutfeld put it, wasn't just that Sunny's ancestors were complicit in a system she condemns, it was her unwillingness to use the moment for introspection, instead pivoting quickly and minimizing its impact. Gutfeld's commentary resonated with many who saw this as a prime example of what happens when moral superiority clashes with inconvenient truths. For Gutfeld, the incident wasn't just about Sunny. It was a lesson on how personal accountability is often overlooked in favor of performative outrage. The internet exploded after SunnyHostin's shocking ancestral revelation. Social media users wasted no time turning the moment into viral memes, with one standout caption reading, "Reparations? Let me write that check to myself real quick." Platforms like Twitter and TikTok erupted with a mix of biting humor and
in her defense, everyone has ancestors that did unspeakably horrible things. It's just that not everyone's ancestors have records tied to their DNA about it. Worried for SunnyHostin's progeny in the future that do a DNA test and find out that they were related to a cast member of TheView. And they're like, oh, it all makes so much sense now why I'm so stupid and fat.
Some defended Sunny, arguing she shouldn't be judged for her ancestors' actions. Many others pointed out the glaring hypocrisy. Sunny, known for holding others accountable for their history, seemed to dismiss her own with a casual shrug, calling it just a fact of life. This sparked a heated public debate. Should figures like Sunny be held to the same moral standards they set for others? Critics argued her response lacked the reflection and growth expected from someone so vocal about accountability. The irony of the situation ensured the backlash would linger, keeping conversations alive for weeks. The fallout from SunnyHostin's revelation didn't just spark public outrage, it left her TheView co-hosts visibly uncomfortable. When the bombshell about her ancestors owning slaves dropped, the usual fiery energy on the panel fizzled into awkward silence. Even Whoopi Goldberg, known for her quick wit, held back, seemingly unsure how to approach such an ironic twist. On Greg Gutfeld's panel, however, the gloves came off. His co-hosts delivered playful yet sharp jabs, with one suggesting Sunny might now have to shame herself for her family's history. The panel's laughter underscored their critique of her perceived double standards, reinforcing how this revelation exposed cracks in her moral high ground.
Guess there's nothing worse than to find out you're a white woman.
She's so disappointed.
It's really disappointing.
Her mother was white.
Oh my
The
God.
shame.
Oh my God.
The horror. History, and finds out that she's, this is fantastic. She is descended from slaveholders. She's descended from slaveholders, and she's been apparently getting a lot of mail about her call for reparations because it turns out she's going to be paying them and not actually receiving them.
She stressed the importance of judging people based on their actions, not their ancestry, while pointing out that identity politics often oversimplifies complicated issues like race and history. O'Donnell's critique highlighted how such revelations can challenge rigid narratives and force uncomfortable self-examination. The reactions from both peers and critics revealed a stark divide. Some used the moment to reflect on personal accountability, while others saw it as yet another example of how identity politics can backfire spectacularly. The tension around Sunny's response was undeniable. SunnyHostin's response to her family's shocking history felt like a missed opportunity. Rather than using the revelation as a moment for self-reflection or starting a nuanced conversation about the complexities of ancestry and accountability, she brushed it off as just a fact of life. This casual dismissal left viewers and critics unsatisfied, especially given her track record of holding others to high moral standards. The moment had the potential to be transformative. Sunny could have acknowledged the irony, shared her own struggles with reconciling her family's past, and used it to deepen the dialogue around historical injustices. It could have been a powerful reminder that no one's history is simple or without contradiction. Instead, the focus shifted to her perceived hypocrisy and unwillingness to confront her family's past. What could have been a moment of growth became another point of contention in the ongoing debates about accountability. SunnyHostin's story is a powerful reminder that no one's history is free from complexity, and moral infallibility can quickly crumble when inconvenient truths come to light. Her revelation challenges the idea that those who preach accountability must also be prepared to hold themselves to the same standard. It's a lesson in self-awareness and the need for humility, especially in public discourse. The internet's reaction, combined with GregGutfeld's cutting commentary, ensures this moment will remain in the public eye. The biting humor, viral memes, and heated debates continue to highlight the glaring irony of Sunny's situation. Whether she chooses to address the issue head-on or brush it aside will shape how her legacy is remembered. What do you think? Should Sunny reflect on this moment and use it as a chance to start an honest conversation, or has she already lost the public's trust? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this story as shocking, ironic, or thought-provoking as we did, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest news and controversies. Your voice matters, and we'd love to hear your take on this explosive revelation.